And South Africa is hoping history will repeat itself when the Springboks face off against England at the Rugby World Cup this evening. And Bokke fever has taken over. We have our reporters Dasen Thathiah, who is in Durban. Kevin Brandt is in Cape Town, and Percy Young in Paris, who will help or rather capture the mood for us. Let's start with you, Dasen. Good afternoon to you all, colleagues. Dasen, just earlier on, having spoken to revelers all around KZN in Durban and their hopes for the Springboks. So what do you have now?
Well, I'm now at the Northwood Crusaders Sports Club, and it's one of the areas where fans will be flocking to tonight to be able to enjoy that match with their friends and family. And where I'm standing now, obviously quite empty because it's still very early. But what it does tell me is that there's going to be enough space here to accommodate anyone that would want to come through and enjoy the match today. So obviously this is one of the spaces in which fans had flocked to previously for the other matches. Just last weekend they were also here. So we've just been engaging with some of the organizers around what exactly needs to be done to ensure that everyone is happy, having fun, and obviously safe as well. So let me now bring in Gilberto De Silva. You said I should call you G because that's a bit of a tongue twister. He's the manager here. So G, tell me, what have you been up to ensure that everyone has a good time tonight?
So as you can see, we obviously have the big screen up there. We've got two big screens actually. We've got one indoor, one outdoor. Sufficient seating. We've got about 59 benches and chairs out here. We've got two pop-up bars, proudly sponsored by SAB, as well as ABR.
Let's just take a walk while you're showing me all of this.
And yeah, we've got bouncers on board from Striker Security, and MTN is one of our other sponsors, as well as Capital Legacy. So yeah, we've done our best from our side to ensure that the public enjoy this momentous moment. And yeah, hopefully we make the final.
So looking at all of the tables and the bars that you have set up here, it begs the question, how many people are you actually expecting to join you here tonight?
Well, it's always a tough one to say, but I'd say easily over 1,000.
Is that from last weekend? Are you gauging those numbers from the previous match that you had playing here?
Yeah, so I think we as the tournament has progressed, we've obviously expected more and more people. So last week was a momentous game against France, big game, and I think we're confident to say we're expecting double the numbers today.
And that's why you've added that extra seating area outside. You know, one of the questions that always comes about is when you have a situation where people are in that party mode and they're enjoying the match and obviously having a few drinks, we also need to know that people are safe. So how are you ensuring that everyone that comes here tonight is able to enjoy it in a safe space?
So if you look around, we obviously have the fencing and it's a closed off area. Like I mentioned just now, we do have Striker Security on board on both sides of our venue. We've got obviously the fan park out here, as well as the you could call a fan park in the main bar area as well. So yeah, Striker here to just provide some security to make sure everything goes smoothly.
What are one of the things that draws you to these types of sporting events? I mean, we know that beyond just the rugby, there's also the unity and the patriotism that we see.
Yes.
Just from your point of view of hosting one of these, well, I guess these supporters, get-togethers, so to speak.
Yeah.
What is it that draws you to it? What keeps you excited?
I think it's just the passion of the people, to be honest. Last week's game was quite a good example. I think if you look at how people reacted, a nail biter to speak. Yeah, I think we all had our hearts in our throats. But when you look at how people interact and engage with each other, it's all walks of life, the diversity, and just the unity, like you mentioned. It's amazing how rugby as a sport brings everyone together. So yeah, when the full-time whistle goes, it's amazing to see how everyone performs. We have people obviously celebrating to their full potential.
Predictions for today?
I'd like to say South Africa by 15.
I'll hold you to it. Thank you so much for your time, Chi. Appreciate it.
Cheers, no problem.
You know, we've also been engaging with other patrons, other people that have been visiting the other establishments around Durban earlier on. Many people getting an early start this morning. I saw a family just not far from where we were crossing this morning. They got together, all of them in their Bok outfits, seated at a table having breakfast, and I engaged with them there. Just to get a sense of what they were doing to prepare, because not everyone is coming out to these establishments. Others are choosing to stay at home and spend time with their family and friends, and they are, to do that, having to get supplies and get their meat together, their drinks together, and ensure that they also have a good time. Let's listen to what that particular supporter had to say to me earlier this morning.
It's everyone wearing their Springbok jerseys, everyone coming together, all different races and walks of life, kind of coming together supporting one cause, which is obviously the Springboks.
I know there might be a little bit of bias here, but what are your expectations for tonight?
We are going to smash them very easily, and it'll be about 45 points.
Our reporter Dasen Thathiah in Durban, thank you so much. We go to Paris now, where Percy Young is on standby. Bonjour to you, comment ça va? And how's it going there?
Good afternoon, Cindy. From a fairly overclouded and very windy Paris at the moment. It's a city of love, but I can tell you, Cindy, there'll be no love lost tonight at 9 o'clock when the two nations go head to head. It's old rivals. It's the Springboks versus England. The two nations that were hoping to book their spots in the final. And like my colleague Dasen Thathiah just said, it's fairly quiet because it's still very early in the day here. I'll just ask my colleague to show you the iconic stadium, Stade de France, where it's all happening tonight. Last minute preparations being done ahead of that clash tonight at 9 o'clock tonight. It's an iconic venue. Just last night we witnessed New Zealand dismantle Argentina at this venue. Close on 78,000 fans witnessed how New Zealand scored 7 tries to none against this Argentinian side. It was a one-sided affair here, but the fans after the match, they said they expected much better from the Argentinian side, and now the focus shifts to what will happen tonight here. Like I said, it is the defending champions facing off against England, a side they've managed to beat convincingly in 2019. 32-12 was that score in 2019 in Japan. And Rassie Erasmus, Jacques Nienaber and Siya Kolisi are hoping that they can do the same this time around. But when we speak to the South African camp in the build-up to today's match, they are quietly confident, but they're also not overconfident. They're not being arrogant about what's about to happen here tonight. In fact, Jacques Nienaber and Siya Kolisi says it's a massive task that lies ahead for them here tonight. They can't underestimate this England side. England is still the only unbeaten side heading into the semi-finals. And Jacques Nienaber reckons they're going to have to be at their best if they want to beat this England side. Now, when we speak to the other camp, the England camp, they also said they are not the favourites heading into this match tonight. They say that over the last 4 years, a lot has changed in this England side. They know they've been beaten twice over the last 4 years since they've lost in that final in Japan against the Springboks. But the new coach, Steve Borthwick, says he's brought in some new players. He's brought in some new blood. There's a new coaching staff and there's a new energy in this England side. Now, Sunday, I can tell you this morning, I've walked around parts of Paris. There's a lot of England fans here in Paris today. It's only a 45-minute flight from England to Paris. On a ferry, it's less than 2 hours to get here, and the hotels are buzzing here. Last night, we saw fans surprisingly from Canada. We saw fans from New Zealand. We saw fans from Wales, from Japan. They were all over. It felt like the world were here at Stade de France. And I get the sense tonight it's going to be the same case. We're expecting close to 80,000 fans to fill up this venue tonight. And even though France have been kicked out of their own party, they are here in full support to enjoy what's still left on display here tonight. And many of the locals said they're not really fans of the England side, but they're hoping that the Springboks can do them a favour tonight and kick out England out of this tournament tonight. The winner takes it all. The winner will advance and book a spot in the final and hopefully face off against New Zealand next week, Saturday.
There's a lot at stake, Percy, and you were saying that the world is very well represented at the Rugby World Cup, but we've got 62 million South Africans who literally are carrying the box, and we saw this even with the captain, Siya Kolisi, saying that they're doing this for the fans, for many South Africans who are not able to travel to Paris, but nonetheless that they will do this for South Africa because of the support that they've received. Were you able to at least get in touch with the coach or the team or any press conferences that they might have had prior to the kickoff at 9 o'clock this evening?
Surprisingly, Cindy, it was a Japanese journalist who asked Siya Kolisi that question about why they're playing, what is their motivation ahead of today's clash. And Siya Kolisi reminded this journalist that they're playing for, like you rightfully said, close to 62 million South Africans who will be standing behind the Springboks today. They're saying they're doing it not only for themselves, they're not playing for trophies anymore, but they're playing for South Africans who they need to give hope in this difficult time that our country is going through. I'm told that the Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Zizu Kodwa, is already here in Paris this afternoon. He'll be hosting apparently the Braai Army here in Paris later this afternoon. We'll be hoping to bring those visuals to our eNCA viewers later today. Cindy, I can also tell you we've spoken to one of the well-known tour organizations in South Africa, and they are telling us that a lot of South Africans have requested tour packages when they heard South Africa advance to the semi-final. They wanted to come to Paris, to come and be on the ground here, to come and see firsthand what the Springboks are going to do against this England side. And most of these South Africans we've spoken to over the last 48 hours, they are hopeful, they are confident that the Springboks will get over this hurdle tonight. Now, Cindy, as a sports journalist, a journalist who's been covering the Springboks and England, obviously, I would say I tend to agree with Jacques Nidaba and Siya. You can't underestimate this England side. But what we've seen in 2019, when they were one of the favourites heading to that tournament, they dismantled the very New Zealand who's now in the final. They dismantled New Zealand in that semi-final. And Jacques Nidaba, Siya Kolisi, and even Rassie Erasmus said, if they're not on top of their game, they might come unstuck here. They might fall against this England side, and they don't want to fall into that trap. They're going to have to be at their best if they want to get a win tonight here against England at Stade de France.
Percy Young, thank you so much. Au revoir. And of course, we'd like to believe it's fair and complete, meaning it is done. The Springboks will definitely beat England this evening. But thank you very much. We come to Cape Town now, where our reporter Kevin Brandt is standing by. Good afternoon to you, Kevin. Of course, now the anticipation is just piling up, where we all can't wait for the kickoff with the Springboks taking on England. Just give us a sense of the mood where you are, the revelers that all came out, South Africans in support of the Springboks.
Very good afternoon to you, Cindy. Well, massive support for the Boks here in the Western Cape, in Cape Town in particular. Earlier this morning we were in Plumstead, where we spoke to avid supporters there. We've now made our way to the northern suburbs, the community of Kales River to be specific, and we now at a local shopping centre where we interacted earlier on with some of the Springbok supporters. Many of them say that they've come out to do early afternoon shopping so that they can go back home. Many of them will be watching the game from home. Others opted to then head out to their favourite hangout here within the mother city to go and watch the Boks play together with their friends and other Boks supporters. But solid support for the Springboks squad ahead of that game against England tonight. But here to talk to me more about his support for the Boks is Virgil Speak. He's a resident from this community. Virgil, thanks for joining us. Just tell us, ahead of the game tonight for the Springboks, what do you think their chances are? Semi-finals now. How do you think we're going to progress with the World Cup going forward?
Good day. Yes, from our perspective is that they just have to go out there and give the best, and I think we can do it. We have the best team. I think Cheslin Colby is a good player, so I think he will do it for us today again.
Ahead of the game, is there a lot of preparation within your household when there's a match coming up? How do you guys prepare? Are you going out to a specific place? There's no load shedding today, but do you plan around that as well when that is around?
No, definitely we'll just be at home enjoying the game with our family and kids. I think, yeah, where we shoot in is just do our shopping earlier, go out, do what we do, so we'll be ready for the night for the big game.
And afterwards, do you guys sit around to discuss or analyze the game, like the experts, and then pick apart certain elements of the Boks performance?
Definitely, yes. We just talk about the game and talk about what we saw and how we experienced the game. And then after that, we just talk about the game. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
There's a lot of people walking around here with Springbok jerseys. Some of them too shy to come and speak to me, but you get a sense that there's massive support for the Springboks in the way that people come out, first of all, but also from very young kids dressed in Springbok gear to you know, their parents also coming out, also dressed in Springbok sports attire. Do you feel that that is as it indicates, you know, the support for the Boks here within Kuils River and also within the entire city of Cape Town?
Yes, definitely. There's a big support from our. I think from all over sides coming from, yeah, especially our kids. We enjoy, they're happy, family. So there's a big support behind the Springboks for this World Cup. I think, yeah, they can do it with all the support back home.
Thank you very much for your insights. That is Virgil Speak. He is a resident here from Kuils River, giving us his insights with regard to tonight's game. We earlier on spoke to 6-year-old Safia there in Plumstead. She explained that after a Springbok game, she sleeps under the South African flag over a duvet, and it's tricky for her to then watch the game when it is on just ahead of a school night, but she makes plans with her parents to then get an analysis the following day. So from very young and slightly older supporters here for the Boks, there's a lot of excitement ahead of tonight's game, Cindy.
And Kevin, earlier on, Dasen Thathiah also had a guest who had said that between the Springbok and France game, we literally had a knot in our stomachs, and you know, it felt literally like we were on life support because of the anxiety that comes with it. We all anticipate that the Boks will do well and repeat history and bring the trophy home. So just your sense of people, albeit that they're optimistic, but there is that little bit of precaution that says, guys, it could go either way.
Definitely, Cindy, cautious optimism and support, but also that confidence that the Springboks will see us through. We've seen excellent performance coming from the Boks squad, you know, during their tenure at the World Cup, and that is what the supporters here feel. They will pull through and keep their momentum as they've performed, with very key players being watched. There was a lot of talk around Manie Lebok earlier on as well about his kicking ability. People feel that he obviously redeemed himself and is now much more focused on his game. We also saw Cheslin Kobe last week coming through. Excellent performance from him. So a lot of support for the Boks squad in its totality, but there are key players that the supporters feel will definitely pull us through to the final, and many of them actually saying that we will be victorious in the 2023 Rugby World Cup, Cindy.
All right, Kevin Brandt out in Cape Town, thank you very much. And we had Dasen Thathiah, who is in Durban, and Percy Young in Paris, just capturing the mood for us as we anticipate the kickoff at 9 o'clock this evening against England.